morning, everybody. Thank you. Hey, if I can have your attention briefly, I'll actually come to the front of the auditorium. I'm Mr. Blumenthal, hello. And I'd just like to welcome all of you to the first of two presentations we're having about the work ethic certificate today. You only have to come to one, first of all. But as we are making sure all of our T's are crossed, again, I think that this number of students is I think in my opinion, a really, really good sign. What's nice about this program, and this is really our second year, it's our second year doing it, sort of a test last year, to have this many students that are at least interested in finding out more about this, since it's not required, you don't have to be. I think is a real testament to you as leaders and students that are interested in demonstrating the skills that you have already inside you. So what we hope to find, or what we hope you'll find, is that all this will do for you is to demonstrate and give you a product that you can take with you by the end of the year that really confirms hopefully what you already know about yourselves, and you don't have to do anything different. So you just continue being awesome, and at the end you will have something tangible that you can then take with you into the future. Whether it's this summer you're looking for work or beyond. This is a big year for everybody. There's freshmen and sophomores especially. You're really kind of getting the hang of high school and how it's this transition. But this is a good way to extend yourselves a little bit and put yourself out there. And these partnerships, the two guests that we have with us today, are part of that relationship and that community building that we are really striving to work toward. And so, thank you from everybody here. All right, let's give it up for Mr. Blumenthal. He's filling in for me. Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming today, and for those that have already signed up for the Work Ethic Program, and for those that are here that may sign up for the Work Ethic Program, we'll have it all explained to you by the end of the day. One, it's about purpose. So we're going to talk a little bit about why it's important to begin with, okay? And then the second thing is, how does the program work, and what is your responsibility in that, and things of that nature, okay? So it's a pretty simple process, but the purpose behind it is so important for your success as a human being as you go into adulthood. I can't even describe to you how important it is, okay? So hopefully during this process this year, you will start thinking about things a little bit different in regards to learning some skills that are going to help you become marketable when you leave here, okay? Our job is to get you ready for life, okay? You got content, you got all that knowledge you're going to get, but what do you do with it, right? What do you want to do what kind of job do you want? Things like that. All of that's very important to high school, but it's how you perform on that job, okay? So there are definite skills that you need to obtain in order to be successful. And that's kind of what we're talking about today, okay? So the first thing is, we have a guest here today that is very passionate about helping students, okay? So he's going to give a presentation today. So we're going to need everybody's attention. Everybody's attention, because you're not following one of the skills, okay? When somebody's talking, you need to listen. So, we have Mr. Will Glaros here today. He graduated from Indiana University in 1972. He is the current owner and partner of the Myers-Glaros Group that provides security of employees and employers through benefit plans. He has served on many organizations in Northwest Indiana. He's a leader in Northwest Indiana. Some of his awards include the 2014 National Benefit Advisor of the Year, 2017 Munster High School Hall of Fame. He's also, for you speech and debaters out there, 2019 Munster High School Speech and Debate Alumnus of the Year. He'll be recognized for that next year. Will has two passions in life. That is providing security to others through insurance products and helping all people understand that they can accomplish anything.
Him and I have a very similar attitude about everybody in this room, that all of you can be successful no matter what. All you got to do is apply yourself and get some skills along the way. I want to introduce Will Glaris to you. Let's give it up for him.
Woo, I like that. So we are here today to talk to you about the Work Ethics Program and why you want to be part of it. And I'm going to challenge you to listen carefully, because if you do and if you adopt these skills, I can guarantee you from practice that the opportunity for you to succeed in life is far greater than you ever imagined, no matter in what it's being done in. So let's get started if we can here. I'd like to first poll you on some questions I've got up on the screen, just so I have a feel of where you guys fit right now in some of the skills that are going to be required for you to succeed. Number one, and all I want you to do is raise your hands. How many of you think you have goals currently? That's great. Terrific. Who thinks they have a positive attitude? Okay, we need to have that at 100% by this time at the end of the year. Who thinks they manage time effectively? Okay, that one I'm going to question, but I'll allow you to go with that. Who thinks they're a good problem solver? Great. Who thinks they're honest and dependable? Honest and dependable. Alrighty. Who thinks they work well with others? Maybe you guys don't need to take this class, although I would still recommend that you do. Who thinks they can follow directions? Who thinks they're a good listener? A few hands down, but another one you need to learn. You ever heard the old statement that if God had meant you to be a talker, He wouldn't have given you 2 ears and 1 mouth? That means being a good listener is important. Who thinks they might show up for work on time or earlier? And who thinks they have something in common with people like me, the business owner who's out there? Now that one's hard to raise your hand to because you don't really know what I do daily. But in all honesty, everything that you're reading on this screen as a skill, which happen to be the work ethic skills, are things that I practice on a daily basis in my business. And I have for years. So let's get started. First of all, why am I here? The purpose in having me here is I'm on the other side of the coin when it comes to hiring. I'm the business owner. I own a business. We have 20 employees. We are the largest benefit planning firm in Northwest Indiana. I've been in the insurance business since I got out of college in 1972. So a long time ago. I am, and not afraid to admit it, 68 years old. But I will run with any of you. I am up every morning at 4 o'clock. I don't go to bed till, well, my wife tells me I'm in bed by 6. Probably because of that early rising I am. I do 125 sit-ups 4 days a week. I walk 4 miles 3 days a week. So we're not really that much different. We all have passions in our life, and we all have goals and places we want to go. My purpose is to show you I'm really not that different from you. And the skills that it has taken me to reach this point in my career are the same skills that you want to try to learn and use yourselves. You also, is to make the case that these skills were used by people like me, not just like you, to succeed in life and to give you an advanced jump on that opportunity. And lastly, to make the case why these skills can help you succeed. So, by the way, that's me 50 years ago. That's from my senior year in high school. I'm actually in 3 weeks going to celebrate our 50th high school reunion. So I've been around a while, and that's what makes me slightly different than you guys. I learned in a completely different way because we didn't have computers and computer technology, but I've also had 60 years or 50 years of life to learn how to take that information and use it effectively. And that's something you're going to learn to do over the years. So, Mr. Martinson had talked a little bit about me. I'm just going to expand a little bit so you know that it's more than just work. I actually, in addition to being a business owner, I have promoted motivational programs for some of the top life skills speakers in the world we've had in Northwest Indiana. I'm a certified life skill instructor. I have a radio program called The Winner's Circle. It's 25 years old. The whole purpose is to interview people from Northwest Indiana with winning stories to tell. So I've had a great opportunity to meet people and to interview them as to why they're successful. That's why I know this program is meant for each and every one of you. I also have a radio or a column I write in the Times called Limb Walk, where I've interviewed people throughout the region and written about why and for what reason they're successful. So again, enforcing the fact why I know these things you're going to see in this program over the year are going to be beneficial to you in your life. I'm a parent of my daughter Megan and Matthew. If any of you watch television early in the morning, my daughter is the morning weather person on CBS and has been for the last 8 years here. My son works with me in my business. I have 7 grandchildren, and I have a love for race cars, which I haven't driven them by myself, but I ride in race cars, jet fighters, and refuelers with the Air Force. Because I've taken some of my passion and expanded off to learn as much as I could about other people and their passions. So, today, what we're going to accomplish in the next couple of minutes is to have you understand, first of all, what is the workforce or the work ethics program? What is the goal of the program? Who's eligible? Why you should take the program, and how the program will be presented, which is what Mr. Martinson is going to talk about in a couple of minutes. But let's start with something simple. It may seem completely off the track of what we're going to talk about, but it isn't. Can anybody tell me what this picture on the far left-hand side is? You.
They all help navigate.
Did you get my script ahead of time?
I did.
He's exactly right. Here on the left is what is called a kamal. A kamal actually looks like this. It's a piece of wood with a string tied through it, and 1,000 years ago, Arabian navigators would use this to determine where they were longitudinally. They would put this in their mouth, hold this out against the North Star and the base of it against the horizon, and they would then tie a knot in the rope, and they would follow that knot when they wanted to come home. When it was in the right place in the horizon, they knew they were at the right spot longitudinally, lengthwise, and they just either had to go left or right to get home. That then became part, what's the second device? Anybody know what that is? Okay, that's called a sextant. That was used for years to help navigators, same thing, use the stars to get where they needed to go. And lastly, that is our current day navigational tool, GPS, which we use with a fingerprint or on that phone and designating on the P-pad where you want to go, you can go wherever you want. It still works on global positioning or stars. So the reason I bring this up is all these things, what they have in common is they get us to where we're going, but each one is a different tool for getting there at a different point in time. And that is one of the things I want you to remember. While time may change, while tools may change, the rules of being successful never change. They are always the same. So, what is the Work Ethics Program that you're entering? It's a program provided through Workforce Innovations of Northwest Indiana to help prepare you for the life skills business owners want. If we could, in the back of our room, we have a guest with us today, Linda Woloshansky, who is the head of Workforce Innovations in Northwest Indiana who runs their program. She has a ton to do with this program being delivered to you. Number two, what's the goal of the program? It's to educate you on the 10 skills that I as a business owner want when I hire you. You want to work for me, you better be able to do these things. So they're very important to know. The goal is to open the door of opportunity, jobs, because employers have said people who are certified in these skills will have a higher level on the priority list for being hired. And lastly is to provide the life skills you need for success. Now, how do I get the work ethic certification? Take the training to learn the skills. You're doing that now. Demonstrate to leadership you have the skills and receive your certificate. Pretty simple. But the value you'll get from the program will be lifelong. Who's eligible for the program? Everybody in this room. And if you have friends who didn't come, you should highly encourage them to participate, because they're going to get a lot from it, from the way Mr. Martinson has developed the program to be delivered. Why should you take the program? We've kind of talked about that, but not really. So let me give you some examples. I'm going to ask for your participation again. How many of you know who this guy is in the upper left on the screen? Anybody know? It's Bill Gates. Bill Gates, with Paul Allen, started Microsoft. He has become an incredibly successful person. Do you know who the middle person is? It says Steele under his name. If you go to a library in any part of this country, you're going to find libraries, public libraries, that were basically paid for by his fortune. His name is Andrew Carnegie. He started U.S. Steel. He was at one point the richest man in the world, as has, I think, Gates fit into that position. How about on the far right-hand side? Does anybody know who that is? Helen Keller. Helen Keller was a woman born blind who accomplished things beyond her comprehension. Why? Because like Gates and like Carnegie, she followed these same life skills. As I mentioned, they don't really change that much. On the bottom, I do not know their names, but we have two teenage people. One was an app writer and another one book and movie writer that was under the age of 18. So it doesn't mean you have to wait to be old to be successful. If you're lucky and you have the right idea and you study the skills, you have the opportunity, not the guarantee, but the opportunity to have it go this well for you. Now I'm going to bring it a little more regionally. These are four people who I have actually interviewed for my newspaper column called The Limb Walker. On the top left, how many of you know the name Gus Lippens? You may not know his name, but you are probably in one of his convenience store gas stations weekly with your parents. He owns all of the Family Express Express convenience stores, 85 of them across the country, or across the state of Indiana. I've known him for 20 years. I knew him when he just started this company and there was only one. He uses these skills. The gentleman at the far top right is 93 years old. His name is Bill Wellman, used to own Wellman's Theater in Valparaiso. Works for Dean White from Whiteco Corporation. I believe before he passed was the richest man in Northwest Indiana, a billionaire. Not Bill, but Mr. White. But he worked for him, which meant he had the skills. Number 3, lower left, Ulysses Junior Bridgman. In 1971, East Chicago Washington High School had a basketball team that is recognized as, if not the best, one of the best basketball teams in the history of this country. They won the state championship. Almost every player on that team, including Junior, went on to play college basketball. He went to Louisville, won a national championship at Louisville, went on to the Milwaukee Bucks, retired, and When I met him and interviewed him in Louisville, he was just in the process of selling his interest. He was actually from this little average life in East Chicago, Indiana. His father was a steel worker. He had invested properly and been a good businessman and followed these skills and was the third wealthiest basketball player behind Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson only. Most people don't even know his name. He is the most gracious, giving person you ever met. So the skills go beyond making money. They go into giving back to your community and being successful that way. On the last bottom slide is Dr. Danita Johnson Hughes. She runs an organization called Edgewater Health in Gary. Without getting into her whole story, she basically had issues as a teenager, decided she was going to go back, and came from an average family, decided she was going to go back and get her GED because she had left school. She did it. She got her college degree. She got her master's degree. She went to the University of Chicago and got her doctoral degree. She writes books and talks to kids about success. These are 4 Northwest Indiana people, none of from any major means. They're not born rich. Everybody thinks people that are successful are born rich. They're not. They're average people who learn how to make it. And these people have demonstrated that. So, what do these people have in common? All the skills we talked about originally. Without going through them in detail again, they're each of the work ethic skills you're going to be learning over the next year if you participate. It doesn't guarantee success. What it guarantees you is the opportunity to be at the head of the line to garner success. Because it's still going to take hard work and study and learning in addition to these skills. So I challenge you as a school. I made a comment to Mr. Martinson. I said, let's work to have you guys have the highest percentage of all the schools in Northwest Indiana participating in this program. It gives everybody the opportunity to go somewhere. And I'll tell you, you being here today, volunteering to come in here, or for those of you that have already signed up, my hat's off to you. Because that's the first step in succeeding at anything, is taking the action to do something, and you've done that. So, what do these people all have in common? Employer life skills and employer expectations and the work ethic skills are all the same. I told you nothing changes. Nothing. These skills are universal and will be universal 100 years from today. So your future is basically up to you, whether or not you participate in the program, and if you really engage yourself fully into it to learn the skills in the program. Have a couple of quotes here. If you want to be a failure, study those who lose and quit. If you want to have success, follow the leader who has shown proven skills. These business owners that are going to be hiring you in a couple of years, they have these skills. They want you to have them so you can succeed just like them. This is a bonus on Mr. Martinson. He loves to go what I call above and beyond the call of duty. He is wants to extend the regular work-life skills, work ethic skills, by adding 4 more that we're going to have a program, I think, in November, January, March, and May, where you'll come in just like you are right now. We're going to have myself and other business people come in and give talks on why these things are important. Having a definite major purpose, overcoming adversity and defeat, going the extra mile, and having self-discipline. All skills these people have in addition to the work ethic skills. And whoever takes this, somehow I'll reward them, who goes the extra mile, with what I call the Limb Walker Award. That's what my column is called in the Times. And I'll work that out with Mr. Martinson over the year for who's going to qualify for that. Just as a little tease, the first program in November is going to be on purpose. We're going to study, well, first of all, a definite major purpose, a goal is the starting point of all achievement. If you can't have a goal, you're never going to achieve something because you can't see it. And we're going to study this gentleman right here. His name is Ryan Braymeyer. I actually interviewed him for my columns. He was the first person out of the region who I interviewed. He holds or held 4 world records in sailing sailboats around the world and transatlantic and transpacific. But the one goal that he has and vision he has is this wording up here, Vendée Globe. It's a round the world sailboat trip. One person in a 60-foot boat, takes about 3 months to do, through the most dangerous waters in the world. We will talk about the skills that make that definite purpose important. This is the track they take around the world. 26,000 miles. When they start, they're all together like this. When they end, it's one boat, probably a day or 3 or 4 or maybe a month ahead of the others. Armel Leclerc was the winner in 2016. The next race is in 2020. Ryan wants to be in that race. He's an American. No American has ever won that race. That's his goal. We will study that in that program on definite major purpose and why it's important to have a definite major purpose. With that, I'm going to close by thanking you all, first of all, for making the investment in your time and action to be here today. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, now we got about a few minutes left that I want to make sure we understand the purpose of how this works, okay? Because you guys I know a lot of you had questions. So I need to show of hands for those who have not signed up yet officially. Of those hands up right now, how many of you did not grab a sheet? Raise your hand. Okay, just a couple. Can you help me? Keep your hands up. And then give one of each. Raise your hand if you did not get a goldenrod sheet and you have signed up. Okay? Keep your hands up. We'll get them to you. Here, come here. Go ahead and start passing those out. Keep your hand up if you need a goldenrod sheet. You're going to need this to kind of start the process here, okay? Just hang tight. Do me a favor, go on that side of the room. Okay? Hurry up. While you guys are waiting patiently here, I do want to express something to you if you have not signed up yet. Just get that turned in to me by the end of this week, if possible, just for our record-keeping stuff that we need to do, okay? We are at, currently, before today, we've had 200 people sign up in the school. I'm trying to get that number to 400. With the few other people that have come in today, we're probably going to be around 250. That's good. So tell your friends to be part of this program, because I'm going to explain to you why it's important in a minute. And not only that, but how we go about doing it. It's not that taxing. It's not going to take up a ton of your time. But it is something I want you to be aware of how it works. Okay, it looks like we got about all passed out. Okay, so at this time, I want you to take the goldenrod sheet, okay? And the part where it says work ethic, certification, process, and standards, okay? I want you to look at that. Here's how you are evaluated, okay, in this program. And I want to go through it, each one of them. So look at number 1. A student will be evaluated by using the 10 employer expectations identified on the employer expectation poster. And you're probably saying, what are you talking about, Mr. Martinson? Where's the poster? Mr. Blumenthal, hold that up. There's a little mini poster there. Every classroom, almost every classroom, has one of those big ones hanging up in their room. You've probably seen it once you see that. On the way out today, I'm going to ask that you pick up a little one for yourself that you can put on your refrigerator, okay? It's kind of a cute little thing, or you'll like it, okay? And it's just reminders of what you're actually looking at. Now, these 10 skills Mr. Glaros went over. If you flip the back of this, you will see the 10 that are on here. Here's what happened when you guys originally turned these in. Some of you did this and some of you did not. Okay? So I'm asking that you do this again. Okay, listen close back there. The young lady, that's all I see is the back of her head. This is completely rude. Thank you. Turn around. On the back of that sheet, you will see a beginning, middle, and end of self-evaluation, okay? So like I said, some of you already did it. Probably didn't take you very long, but I want you to go through it, and I'd like you to do it right now, so I need to go over it with you. Show, and if you don't have a pencil, you can turn it in later, but I want you to put your name on it. Put your name on it when you do turn it in, so I have it, because I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to give it back to you in January, okay? Because I want to make sure I see where you guys are at. But I want you guys to do this for me. Be completely honest, okay? If you say you're a 5, then you're a 5. It's okay. It's a self-evaluation. I want you to be honest with yourself. So number 1, shows a positive attitude. And in the beginning column on the left there, of the 3 columns, give me a score of 1 to 10. Just because it says students must average an 8 or higher, don't worry about that, not for the self-evaluation part. That's later, okay? Just give me your honest, complete honest answer on that. My daughter went through this last year and she graduated, okay? Last year, one of my 2 daughters. And if she said positive attitude, she would have honestly put 5, okay? At the beginning. But she learned through the process that there's a way, some of you it's difficult to have a positive attitude, okay? But think to yourself how you have a positive attitude. Because I'm going to tell you, when you have a negative situation, you are going to realize that you're going to have to, what I like to call, flip the script, okay? If things are negative, make it positive, find a way. And you can see underneath, shows a positive attitude, you can see that, what that means, okay? To help you guide you, okay? Second thing, works well with others, okay? Be honest, work well with others. Follows directions. Some of you right here, you could probably figure out what happened today. Arrives on time, okay? Not in here per se, but to school. If I gave this to my wife, she would put a 1, okay? But that's something but she's conscious of it and she tries to work at it. I would give myself a 10 because it's a real pet peeve of mine if I don't show up on time. If I'm not early, I'm not on time. I gotta get here. I get here at 6 a.m. every day. And that's not to pat myself on the back, that's just because I know me. And I do better when I'm early, okay? I figured that out over life, okay? It wasn't always like that. I had to figure that out. Recognizing a problem and finding a solution. Okay? Are you a person that complains? Oh, there's a problem. Okay? And then they just complain about it? Or do you actually have a solution to the problem? Okay? And those are the people that employers want. Those are the people that teachers want to teach, right? They want people to come with solutions to a problem. So make sure that you're thinking that way. And then, some of you, that's tough. So you guys know yourself. If you're a 3, then put a 3. If you're a 10, put a 10 if you think you are that person. But that's a tough one. Managing your time effectively, okay? How do you manage your time? You turn things in on time? Be honest with yourself. Because I'm going to tell you, these are the skills right here that are going to get you to the next level. Applies good listening skills. Are you giving eye contact to people when they're talking to you? Are you engaged in what they're saying? Are you interrupting them all the time? If you interrupt people all the time, you're not really listening, are you? You're listening to part of what they're saying. Okay? And being honest. Honest and trustworthy, right? Are you honest in all situations? I have a sign in my office that says, the time is always right to do what is right. And that was by Martin Luther King. And I find that statement of what guides me. I got to do what's right all the time. because I want to be that person. But I got to remind myself too, right? Because we're human. Be dependable. You show up. You know the need to pass a drug or background check. You know the need and understand that, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, there's employers all over Northwest Indiana that I have talked to personally. I will ask any employer I run into, what is the biggest issue you got? And the one thing they say is being on time and people passing drug tests. And then they fire them. It's that simple. There is no pass-go. So you got to understand that. And the last part is dressing properly, okay? Dress for where you're at, okay? If it's time to go to the beach, you dress like you're going to the beach. I'm not going to dress like I'm going to the beach here because I want to look fresh here, okay? So gentlemen, if you want to start looking, you're at school. Now I'm not saying you got to wear a suit and tie and all that stuff. But soccer team, they're dressed properly, right? Because you got a game tonight, right? Right. Okay? You're not going to just not wear what you're not supposed to wear, right? So you got to fit the occasion and understanding that, okay? I don't have Mr. Blumenthal and I don't have to worry about combing our hair to come to work, but some of you guys, you'll make sure that you got it all together up here, okay? It's important. Right, Blumenthal? Okay. All right, so that is the self-evaluation part. So I want to ask something. I'm going to ask you if you fill that out today with your name on it, and also please put your grade on there. What grade you are? Okay, I'm sorry. Put your grade on there. I'm going to ask that you turn that in today. Okay? So when we leave in a couple minutes, I'm going to ask you at that time to put it back there where those cards are. Okay? And I'll collect them and gather them up. If you did not turn it in today because you don't have anything to write with, I'm going to ask that you turn that into the main office, okay? By Friday, if you can, if not today, okay? Now, the other thing is this. In January, Mr. Galera's talking about, we're trying to line up like 10 different people to come in here and talk to you to show you how important this is and how passionate I am about it. Because I'm going to tell you, I was a BC student in high school. I was an AB student in college. But I had to work really hard to be an AB student, okay? But I had to figure out how am I going to do anything in my life? And I just started applying these things to my life, okay? And I got to where I'm at today. And I think it's because of that, and it's not because of anything else, okay? The other thing is your teachers are going to evaluate you on these things, okay? You're going to get to pick the teachers that you want to evaluate you on these later, okay? But these are the things, okay? So later on you will receive another packet that you will give to the teachers, okay? You following me? Okay, that won't be until April. So this program operates from Labor Day, that's next week, through spring break. Okay, into March. And then in April, you will be given these to ask your teachers to evaluate you, okay? And then you will turn those in, and we'll see where you're at on that part. Now that's just one part of the process, okay? The rest of it, you are being evaluated based off of, if you flip back to the other side, you are actually going to be evaluated on, I want to make sure I got it right. Okay, you're going to try to do 12 hours of community service. Serving people is actually a skill, okay? You're going to want to try to do it. When you do it, you'll like it. Now, there will be opportunities in this building to do that, okay? And I will communicate those to you throughout the year, okay? So don't worry about it. I will tell you where these things are at, okay? That's things that you can do. If you're at church, that will count, okay? There will be a form, all of that. Because some of you do that. My daughter, who's just graduated, serves in church every Sunday. She's serving. So that's service, okay? So we're going to give you those opportunities. The other thing that we are going to do is you should not have more than one discipline referral for the year, okay? So he's going to look at your discipline. Now, if you do have more than one, you just lose points, okay? It's kind of like on a point system. So if you have trouble in one area, you can gain it on the other. And then the other thing is attendance. You need 95% or better. 95% attendance or better. And I believe that means you can only miss 6 or 7 days between that time period. I think it's 7, okay? 6 days in that time period. If you don't, you can still get points, but you just won't get the full amount, okay? And other than that, it's just about the teacher evaluation and then those things, okay? One last thing I need to tell you that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to check your school email. Who in here checks their school email? Okay. You're going to need to start checking it on a regular basis. That doesn't mean I'm going to send you something every day. But every so often, I am going to send you something that I'm going to ask that you do something, okay? And it's not going to be where it's going to take you 4 hours, okay? It's not going to be like that. It's going to be very simple stuff. But I want to make sure you're viewing. It's going to be kind of like a newsletter with some things in it, kind of give you, I'm going to teach you about these skills, okay? And then you may need to comment on it somewhere along the line, okay? But I want to make sure you have that ability to do that, okay? All right, does anybody have any questions about this process right now? I think I was pretty clear on it. Get these back to me though, okay? Again, in the back. Hold on one second. You two right here, you're sticking around afterwards, okay? All right, everybody else may leave. Have a nice day.